Hello there, YouTube. I've had a migraine today, so I wasn't able to record as many videos as I'd like, but there has been a little bit of news which relates to the last video I put out. And it concerns this game here. This is a live service game by BioWare called Anthem. I'm sure you're familiar with it if you play video games. This game was released in 2019, and they have now just announced that this is going to be shut down in January next year. Which means, if like me, you own this game, it will become worthless in about 6 months, because you won't be able to play it. Now, I know what a lot of you are probably thinking. This did not review especially well. Why did I get this? As much as I talk about video games as an art form, and I like single-player story-driven games, I do like live service games. I actually play quite a few of them. I played Monster Hunter World. I played both The Division and The Division 2. I played Path of Exile. Played Anthem. But I've also played a couple of the gacha games, like I played Genshin Impact a little bit. I played The Last Descendant recently. I play fighting games like Street Fighter. Some people might not think of Street Fighter 6 as a live service game. It very much is. If you didn't have the community, the game would lose a lot of its appeal. Most people who play Street Fighter are not playing it for the arcade mode or the World Tour mode. They're playing it to play competitively. And I include in that myself, even though I'm not especially good at it. I'm only Platinum rank. So, yeah, I play a lot of these games. I do like live service games. So, knowing that this game, that is both a live service game and it's a mech third-person game. I like mechs. I like mech combat. This should have been my perfect game. I really enjoyed Armored Core, and I've really enjoyed Mech Warrior and other mech-based games before. Zone of the Enders is another good one. Anthem should have been my perfect game, and yet it was a cheap kind of stopgap for when I didn't feel like playing something like The Division. Even still, I own this game. I want to be able to play this game. I own classic games from the 1980s, and I like to be able to go back and play them. Hey, love. Do you want to cuddle? Hey? No? Okay. Right. I would like to be able to go back and play them. I do often go back and play my Mega Drive games or my Master System games on the old Sega consoles, and they work fine. This is what the Stop Killing Games bill was all about. But it's not just that. See, one of the things I didn't get across well, I feel, in my last video, is that, yes, the Stop Killing Games bill, which is now looking to be a success, is trying to stop live service games like this from being erased. And that's a good thing. We should preserve those games. We also need to go a step further. We need to not just stop them killing online service games, where those games are easily switched off because, well, they don't want to have to pay for the server. We also need to get them back into the habit of making these discs actually worth something. Because this disc is worthless. Even if this game was never switched off, the disc is still worthless. If you don't have an internet connection, that disc does nothing. And it's not just for games like Anthem. Almost every disc is largely worthless. If you don't have an online connection now, a modern game system cannot play its games properly. They will complain at you because you haven't connected to the internet because they need to install their updates. Almost every game now comes with a day one patch. Without that patch, the game is a shadow of what it's supposed to be. If you try and play most games direct from the disc, what you get is slop. It's unplayable. Now, Not every game. Some games can be played directly from the disc. In fact, I played Stellar Blade almost entirely from the disc. I disconnected from the internet, and I did it purposefully because I wanted to play it through uncensored. Now, they reversed the censorship to a degree. They didn't change the graffiti back, which I didn't care about too much. It was still stupid censorship, but I don't care too much. I'm not going to ruin the game for that. But the outfits they removed in order to censor them were then put back in later on with a different name. So effectively, they reversed that censorship. And I'm not really going to, lose my mind over a slightly less skimpy bikini. It's the principle of censorship that was what really bothered me about it. Even still, Stellar Blade plays pretty well off the disc. It got a few balance adjustments and a little bit of a performance boost in a patch a couple of months after release, so it is still worth patching. Most games, however, are almost unplayable without an internet connection to download patches. So what I'm saying is that modern gaming is not just at risk of being destroyed because of games like this, it's at risk of being very ephemeral. There is a very real chance that PlayStation 1 and 2 games will be fine. Those will still be playable and will be complete in 20 years' time. PlayStation 3 and onwards, and anything from the Xbox 360 onwards, anything released on Nintendo after the GameCube, and basically all PC games released after about 2005 will all be gone. In about 20 years' time, unless you have a bootleg copy, they are going to be extremely hard to source. And that's because we are treating the industry as if it's not an art form worth preserving. We're not treating it like literature, where if someone writes a book, you preserve that book. You make sure that that text is constantly available. We're treating it instead like a product that goes off. We're treating it like food. We're treating it like something you can consume, but we'll throw it away and we'll just get some new stuff. That's a terrible thing for what is supposed to be an artistic medium. And it's being treated like this precisely so we'll buy more. You see, video games take a lot of your time, and if you're playing something like this, then you're not going to buy the next game or the one after that. They need their games to have a shelf life. It's also why they want you to be buying things like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Game Pass, because then they can control your access to games. You see, I have well over 150 games on PlayStation Plus, I've checked, because I've been a member for so long. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You want to cuddle? You want to cuddle, love? Yeah? So, no? Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, I have well over 150 games. And the reason that they want to push these services is so that they can control your gaming. If they can control how you game, if they can control what games you own and where you play them, they can then control the money stream. Because it's not just a matter of making sure that they control where you get your games. They want to make sure that it's the only place you can get your games. Because if you suddenly become reliant on PlayStation Plus or Game Pass, if that is the place you store you source your games, and you have no other access to your games outside of those services, then that means that once they've hit a minimum amount, once they've hit there's a term for it that's a critical mass, that's it. Once they've hit critical mass, they will be able to then charge whatever they like. It's the same thing that happened with Netflix. It's the same thing that's happened with all streaming. Once they have you in their ecosystem, if you are a Game Pass subscriber and you've been subscribed to Game Pass for a good long while, or like me, you have a PlayStation, you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, what you end up with is a situation now where Sony has your game library and they have it hostage. You now have to buy a PlayStation Plus subscription or you lose all these games. Dozens, if not hundreds of games. All the games you enjoy playing, all the games you love. And remember, if they can make them digital only, if you can't buy a disc version of your game, then they control the game entirely. Now, you have to have your subscription, which means they can up the price. They can up the price further. They can take games away, and they can keep upping the price. And this is what Netflix did. Netflix made it so that all your shows were in one place. It was stupid not to have a Netflix account. You could watch every film and every show. And then shows got taken away and the price went up. And then shows got taken away and the price went up. And then they added in some adverts and they took some more shows away and they upped the price even further. And now Netflix is fucking worthless. And you need to have 5 of them. Because you need to have Netflix, you need to have Disney Plus, you need to have Amazon Prime, you need to have Apple TV. And it carries on and on and on. PlayStation and Xbox will do the same thing with gaming. That is their intention. Because once they've got you, once they've trapped you in their ecosystem, they can charge you whatever they like. That is the plan. So, saving games like this is only one step. We don't just need to make them not destroy online games. We don't just need that. What we need is for there to be an offline mode not added in at the last moment, on the disc from the beginning, that runs without the internet, that isn't reliant on day one patches, and games need to have physical releases. That is the only way we save the games industry. We need to make sure that when you're buying your games, you're buying a complete offline playable game that you can keep forever. Otherwise, you're not playing this in a decade. Hell, you're not playing this in 7 months. And you're not going to be playing any games on PlayStation 5 in 2035. And you might be thinking, well, I'm not going to want to play any games from PlayStation 5 in 2035. PlayStation 6 or possibly even the PlayStation 7 will be out by then. I'll be playing those games. Will you, though? Because, don't know if make jumping up on a cat tree sound noisy. Because you could say that, but I got my Mega Drive in 1993, and I still play it now. Loads of people do. Do you really want the games from your childhood to be gone? I'm almost 40 now. Those of you in your 20s, the media of your childhood is ephemeral, and by the time you're my age, you won't be able to find any of it. Some of that happened to my childhood shows. Like, you can't find the Nickelodeon or Disney or Cartoon Network shows. They never made proper box sets for them. You can't buy them, you can't really download them. Some of them have been put online. Disney Plus has put some of their back catalogue online. But there's loads of shows that you just can't get. Shows I have very fond memories of, that I remember watching with my brother and my cousins, that you can't get anymore. What happens when you're in your 60s or 70s? What happens when you've got a favourite show you used to watch as a teenager with your sibling, and they died a year ago, and you're now an old person wanting to relive those memories of that show you watched with your brother or your sister? You're never going to be able to, because it's gone. Because the people who made it care more about getting more money out of you than preserving any kind of art. They don't care about your memories. They don't care about the artistry. They don't care about preserving the media. They just care about money. And they are prepared to destroy their own creations if it means they can charge you a little bit more money in the short term. Let's try saving video games. But stop killing games. It's only a plaster on a broken leg. What we need is physical editions that play out of the box without an internet connection, that do not need a day one patch. That's how you save video games. But that's a really, really big ask right now. Anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.